Hi guys, welcome to this video. In this video, I talk about one simple preparation question, one simple prep question. Is it important to read at this stage, right? We are at the start of October. Should you be reading or not? This is a question that a lot of you have. What is the answer for this question? I have two answers for you. The first obvious answer is, in fact, the two obvious answers are yes and a no. Should you read a lot? Should you read and should you read a lot? The answer to this is no. You should not read a lot at this stage, keeping in mind the time constraints. The primary prep tool at this stage has to be practice. Practice has to be the primary preparation tool right now. But you should take up a limited amount of reading, right? Focused but limited reading. That has to be the mantra right now, right? Now, what do I mean by limited but focused reading? What kind of reading should you take up? Right now, you should focus on topic-wise reading. In the mocks, section tests, practice RCs that you solve, identify the topics that are giving you pain, right? Focus on reading articles from these particular topics. Spend over 3 to 5 days for one particular topic. Explore that topic in depth, and while you explain that topic in depth, explore the major terms that you encounter while reading the articles. When I mean topics, I mean you identify philosophy, sociology, psychology, right? Science and technology, and so on. You get the gist of it, right? All the different areas which are possible, right? Now, you will see that some of these topics, for example, if the topic is Indian politics, you'll be very comfortable with it. If the topic is world politics, you might struggle a little with it. If the topic is climate change, right, environment and climate change, generally you'll be comfortable with it. But within science and technology, if it is evolution and talks about Charles Darwin, etc., then the degree of comfort is going to go down. So just identify. So science and technology is a big field, right? So you would have climate change, environment on the one end of the spectrum. You would have evolution and quantum physics and things which deal with biology, etc. At the other end of the spectrum, things that we don't read in general. So identify, list down different topics which are giving you grief, make a list of them, then spend 3 to 5 days on them, explore common terms related to them, right? And build up your reading knowledge, right? So that's one thing that you need to do. What should be a quantum of reading? The quantity of reading that you take up every day. 2 to 3 articles a day are more than enough, right? Being regular is the key here. This is the most important thing. Even on days if you can't, keep yourself a target of 2 articles a day. If you can't read 2 also, that's fine, as long as you're practicing, right? If you're not solving RCs, if you're not reading, then those are 2 crosses, then that is not allowed. So either if you're practicing a lot of RCs, there are some students who go the bulk RC route who are practicing like 5-6 RCs a day, fair enough. But if you're not doing that and if you're not reading as well, then what you're doing is you're kind of restricting yourself in the circle of knowledge that you have, right? You're not really increasing your knowledge. Remember, when you solve RCs, you have to read them as well. So that also gets counted as reading itself, right? But generally what we do is when we read RCs, we go through the RCs, we solve the RC and we stop there. In case we've discovered any new term, in case we've discovered any new area, field of study, etc., we don't go and research it, right? We just stop there, and hence that does not quite get ingrained in our systems. That's something that you've got to do, right? And most importantly, one very, very important point that I want all of you to keep in mind is reading should not give you stress. You should not take it as a daily task or agenda. Read in breaks whenever you have time. Read an article. Don't get too technical about it. Don't get too analytical about it. At times you overcomplicate things. I should read this way, that way, etc. Keep a few basic minimum things for reading in mind, and other than that, just simplify your preparation for yourself. Don't take too much stress for it. The more stress you take, the less you will enjoy it. The less you will enjoy it, the less the chances of you doing it regularly. So that's pretty important. Why is it important to read, right? the simple reason is it's all about staying in touch, right? That's the simplest way I can put this across, right? If you are solving a lot of tests, you're already reading enough, right? So keep that in perspective, keep that as a caveat in mind, right? But by reading in a focused manner, like we talked earlier, right, you remove chinks in the armor, right? You identify your problem areas, things that you do not know about in the world, and hence you are fixing things in your prep at a subconscious level, right? So that is why it is important to read in a focused manner, pick up topics and read, right? Also, when you read a complete article, right? Generally, RCs are extracts, they are not complete articles. You learn the ability of developing full arguments, right? Because generally, when authors, they start off, right? They will start off with an introduction, right? And they will build that article. There will be a structure to it. They will build that article. They will present their argument. Remember, the author is ultimately trying to convince the reader of his own point of view, right? He might want to deliver any point in the world, but he wants you to see the world the way he does. So that is what he's trying to do, and hence he's developing a full argument for it. So when you go through the complete article, you also understand that inherent art of argumentation, how articles are structured, points are delivered, right? RCs generally are extracted from these articles, so some of the content goes missing and then you have the remaining in front of you. So if you read the full article, you learn that art of full argumentation, right, and developing it. So this is another reason why it's important to read, right? So that's all for this particular video. Quickly, I'll go through the 3 slides once again and summarize. Reading right now, it's all about staying in touch. One more thing that I wanted to actually say here is something that just struck me right now. Now, don't read for a few days. Don't solve RCs for a few days. If you do that, right, or if you've done that in the past, in the last few days, you would realize that you have lost that touch or element. There is a natural flow, and if you read a lot, solve a lot of RCs, then you see the other end of the spectrum. You see that all of a sudden you become context, they become more familiar. It becomes easier to read, things are easier to understand. So whenever you read a lot, there is that element and touch of familiarity that you have with the material, right? With the reading material, the things that you're going through. Hence, staying in touch makes a lot of sense. So that's one of the reasons why you are reading. And obviously you are focusing on particular topics, so you are removing your issues. You don't have to read a lot, but whatever you read of good quality, read without any stress, read in breaks, right? And what should be your reading right now? What should be your reading diet? If I can say it that way, topic wise reading, pick particular topics, things that you're struggling with, and focus on those, right? This is it. That's all you've got to consider for reading. Don't take any more stress, and this is what your focus and your targets have to be with respect to reading. I hope the point is delivered well. Thank you very much for watching this video, and this is Prashant signing off. Happy learning.